Yo, what is going on, everybody? This is RBT and welcome back to another Madden 18 experiment video today. Today, we're going to see what would happen in the NFL if every NFL team released their best player into free agency. We're going to sim to the preseason, or sim through the preseason, see where every player ends up, then sim to the end of the season and see what the heck happens in terms of who wins Super Bowl, who does good on their new teams, etc., etc. I think with each team losing their best player, I think we could see some huge difference in results compared to what happened in real life. So hopefully, you guys do enjoy today's experiment video. If you do, make sure to drop a like. Let's see if we can smash 2,000 likes for today's video. Be sure to subscribe to the channel if you are new and turn on the notification bell if you haven't. In the comment section below, let me know if you have any ideas for future experiments. And be sure to have the notification bell on because we are going to be going through 22 or 23 or 24, something like that, days of Christmas, where on one of my videos each and every day there's going to be 2 giveaways that give away Xbox and PS4 gift code at the beginning of the video and throughout the rest of the video. So if you're one of the first to see that video, you have a great chance to actually win that giveaway for that day. Only 1 video per day, so you're not really going to know which video has the codes in them, so that's why you need to have the notifications on. But with that said, let's jump right into today's video, and I'm using the Giants. Why? I don't know. And the bad thing about this is the fact that the Giants are probably not going to make any free agency moves, so they're probably not going to sign any of the available free agents, but we did release Odell Beckham Jr. And another thing, this might create some controversy, but I went by the highest overall. So when I say the best player on each team, like for example on the Patriots, I released Rob Gronkowski instead of Tom Brady because Tom Brady's a 98 overall and Rob Gronkowski's a 99. But I know in real life, everybody's going to say Tom Brady's the best player. So just to keep it even throughout the NFL, I released the highest overall player off of each and every team. Now with that said, these are the players that are available free agents. You got guys like Von Miller, Gronk, who I just said are released off the Patriots instead of Tom Brady, Khalil Mack, J.J. Watt, Julio Jones, Aaron Rodgers. Some of these players are injured, like Aaron Rodgers and J.J. Watt, but obviously in this franchise they're not injured, so they will play. Got Antonio Brown, Zach Martin, so a ton of 99 overall players. Also have Antonio Brown, Zach Martin, Bobby Wagner, Travis Kelce, Odell Beckham Jr., Luke Kuechly, Joe Thomas, Cameron Jordan, Brandon Graham, Ndamukong Suh, Harrison Smith, David Johnson, A.J. Green, Calais Campbell, Marshall Yanda, Delaney Walker, Casey Hayward, Darius Slay Jr., Andrew Luck, Brandon Scherff, LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Amos, and Austin Seferian-Jenkins, which is funny because he's the best freaking player on the Jets, and that's sad, but that's just how you have to go about it. He might not even get signed by anybody, but with that said, we are going to go ahead and start off this video by simming to the preseason, or through the preseason, to the regular season, and see where all the free agents actually end up. See if any team actually signs more than one of the free agents. So first things first, I do want to see if there's any players that did not get signed. I'm guessing all of them did. And yeah, all of the players that were released as the best players on each team did get signed in free agency. Now to look through every team's roster and see who got signed where. So the Giants, we didn't sign anybody, even though it turned the free agency signing to auto, or so the computer did it, but we didn't sign anybody. Unfortunately, we wanted the Jaguars. They signed, of course, the first team. The Jaguars signed Aaron Rodgers. And after we see which player went where, I want you guys to let me know in the comment section below your prediction of who you think wins the Super Bowl. And right off the bat, I think it's the Jaguars, unless some teams sign like 3 or 4 of the free agents, are going to win the Super Bowl. Because in real life, the Jaguars are a good quarterback away from being a serious Super Bowl contender. And they have freaking Blake Bortles, and they still could have a decent shot in playoffs this year. But if they actually sign a Drew Brees or sign Eli Manning, I think they would have a good shot. But if they got Aaron Rodgers, oh my God, with them being a 99 overall and QB containing or carrying so much weight in terms of sims on this game, they might actually win the Super Bowl. So moving along to the Jets, they signed anybody? Poor freaking Jets. They didn't sign anybody, so they're going to be even worse. Now moving on to the Lions, they didn't sign anybody as well. So there has to be some of these teams that signed a couple players. Now the Packers, to replace Aaron Rodgers, they signed Andrew Luck, so that's pretty awesome. They also signed DeForest Buckner, who also was a free agent. He got signed, and also Brandon Graham. So they add 3 players to replace Aaron Rodgers, who they lost to free agency. So the Packers could have a pretty good year as well. Moving along to the Panthers signed A.J. Green, and their best player was Luke Kuechly, so they didn't sign a linebacker to replace him. But A.J. Green, the Panthers' biggest need is wide receiver, so this actually could end up helping them out pretty well, and this actually could help them out a lot in real life too. But A.J. Green to the Panthers. Patriots to replace Gronk. They actually didn't sign anybody. So they're going to be without Gronk. Thank God for them. They got Martellus Bennett back. And keep in mind, it says he's a 99 here, but when I was releasing the free agents, I went by that. So that's like the actual roster. When you go into franchise, I think you guys all know this, all the roster, all the overalls are skewed a little bit depending on what your scheme is. So he's an actual 98 overall, so that's why I released some players opposed to the others, just to clear that up. Moving on to the Raiders now. They signed Von Miller to replace Khalil Mack, so that's a big one. That's a smart signing. Think it's pretty impressive and pretty cool to actually see these teams fill in positions of need of players they just lost to free agency. So at least that shows there's some smarts in Madden 18 CFM. Moving on to the Rams. To replace Aaron Donald, they signed Ndamukong Suh, so that's pretty awesome, and they didn't sign anybody else. The Ravens, to replace Marshall Yanda, didn't sign anybody. The Redskins, they signed Zach Martin, and I can't think off the top of my head. And they also signed Darius Slay as well, so they have two big signings. And I have to make sure there was a couple 88s and 84s that, like Austin Seferian and Jenkins, I got to see where he got signed at. But Zach Martin and Darius Slay, that's an awesome freaking cornerback duo with Darius Slay and Josh Norman. Now, moving along to the Saints, they signed J.J. Watt to replace Cameron Jordan, so they actually probably upgraded right there. Now, the Seahawks, they did not replace Bobby Wagner, and they signed anybody. Looks like they didn't sign anybody. Now, the Steelers, to replace Antonio Brown, they did not sign anybody. Now, the Texans, they signed Calais Campbell to replace J.J. Watt. Pretty interesting right there. Now, my Titans, who do we sign? We signed Marshall Yanda. I'll take it. Helps our offensive line, which was already one of the best in the NFL, so offensive line should be even that much better. Let's see how we do in the simulation. Now, moving along to the Vikings to replace Harrison Smith, they did not sign anybody, it looks like. Now, moving on to the Bears, they didn't sign anybody to replace Adrian Amos, and they didn't sign anybody at all. Now, the Bengals, to replace A.J. Green, signed Khalil Mack, Odell Beckham Jr., and Joe Thomas. The Bengals just got so much better. And don't be surprised if you see the Bengals get close to the Super Bowl. That's 3 huge additions to the team, man. Now, the Bills, they signed Aaron Donald, Bobby Wagner, and David Johnson, dude. So the Jaguars, Bengals, and Bills are the 3 teams to look out for. And there was one other team that I'll point out here in a second. I can't remember off the top of my head. There was one other team I think that signed like 2 or 3 good players. Now, moving on to the Broncos, I believe we left off on. Broncos, they didn't sign anybody, so they are F. They didn't sign anybody to replace Von Miller. The Browns signed Julio Jones and Antonio Brown, Harrison Smith, and Delaney Walker. Jesus Christ, dude. The Browns, Bills, and Bengals making some freaking moves. So the Jaguars, too. Jesus Christ. Now, the Buccaneers, they signed Gronk to replace Levante David. Now, the Cardinals, they signed nobody, it looks like. Now, moving on to the Chargers, they signed, looks like nobody once again. Moving on to the Chiefs, they signed nobody, I don't think. Yeah, they didn't sign anybody. Moving on to the Colts to replace Andrew Luck. They didn't sign a gosh dang soul. Now, that quarterback's going to be Jacoby. Now, the Cowboys, they signed to replace Zach Martin, who was the highest overall player. They didn't sign anybody either. Oh, they signed Casey Hayward, so their cornerback situation did improve a bit. They also signed Adrian Amos. So the Cowboys didn't make the biggest signings, but they signed 2 players in the secondary, which really needs some revamps. The Cowboys could have a big season because of that. The Dolphins signed Luke Kuechly to replace Ndamukong Suh, so they did upgrade somewhere on defense. The Eagles, they signed Cameron Jordan when they lost Brandon Graham, so that's a straight replacement at that position, so they shouldn't have any fall off. The Falcons replaced Julio, didn't sign anybody, I don't think. And then the 49ers, they looks like they're the ones. They're the freaking ones to sign Austin. They're the ones. So that is that. So the teams to look out for, definitely the Browns, Bengals, Bills, Jaguars. The Packers made some big moves too. So I think those are the main teams, if I'm not mistaken, that we should be looking out for in this simulation. Now, I'm pretty sure one of those teams are going to end up winning the Super Bowl. So with that said, after you guys have seen this roster, I want you to let me know in the comment section below who you think is going to win the Super Bowl at the end of this simulation. And with that said, I think it's time to jump right into the sim. And I think I'm going to go Man, I need to make a prediction. I think I'm still going to stay with the Jaguars. Although there's some teams, like the freaking Browns, signed 2 99 overall receivers. Still think with them having 9 overall quarterback, they have a great shot to win the Super Bowl. So that's my prediction. Let me know yours in the comment section below. Now, going division by division, the Bengals and Browns, although they're the 2 teams that made some of the biggest moves, still didn't make the playoffs. The Browns, they should have done better than 6-10 with the players they had on their team that they signed. But anyways, Steelers, although I don't think they signed anybody to replace Antonio Brown, still won the division. I'm really surprised by that. Really surprised that the Bengals didn't even make the playoffs. The Ravens, can't remember who they signed, but they apparently were good enough to go 10-6. AFC South, the Jaguars didn't do as good as I thought, but they still made the playoffs. My Titans were trash. I guess Delaney Walker, I guess it makes sense because as a Titans fan, watching every single game, seems like every single pass is thrown to Delaney Walker, or at least intended to him. So anyways, it's with him being lost on the team, I could actually see this happening. Now, AFC East, the Bills were one of the teams to make some huge moves. They go 12-4 and actually make the playoffs over the Patriots. Now, the Patriots, that's weird. They should, even losing Gronk, they've shown before when Gronk's been injured, they can still do well. And I don't know why they did so bad without Gronk, but that's that. Now, the AFC West, the Chiefs did well at 12-4. And I don't remember any of these teams making some big signings. But anyways, the Chiefs go 12-4, Chargers go 11-5. NFC North was trash. The Packers, I thought, were at least going to make the playoffs with the signings that they made, although they lost A-Rod. But they go 6-10. The Vikings win the division at 8-8. That division was probably the worst in the NFL. NFC South, the Saints go 12-3-1. The Falcons, although they did lose Julio Jones, they go 11-5. The Panthers, although they added their biggest position of need with one of the best receivers in the NFL, A.J. Green, they go 6-9-1. Buccaneers were just the Buccaneers. NFC East, we already saw that. And NFC West, the Seahawks, as always, win the division at 9-7. The Cardinals go 8-8. Rams 7-9. And the 49ers, with the huge addition of Austin Seferian-Jenkins, goes 5-11. Now let's see who won the MVP. Was it any new players? And it was, like I said, Aaron Rodgers and the Jaguars. He won the MVP. Anybody else that was new, it actually does not look like anybody that was new came in the top 10 of the MVP. And I also forgot, Andrew Luck replaced Aaron Rodgers at Green Bay, so I didn't think there'd be that big of a drop-off, especially with the players they signed around Andrew Luck, and they still went 6-10. I thought it was Brett Hundley, but it was Andrew Luck, so I don't know why they did so bad. David Johnson led the NFL in rushing with 1,700 yards, but only had 7 touchdowns, so with that, didn't come in the top 10 in the MVP race. And also LaShawn McCoy on the Dolphins. I don't think I pointed that out. I think I completely missed him. Des Bryant led the league with 1,300 yards. And any new receivers coming up big? Looks like Martavis Bryant had a good year filling in at the number 1 spot for Antonio Brown. But I don't see any receivers. Odell Beckham Jr. was the best new receiver moving places to the Bengals. 1,200 yards, 7 TDs. But Julio Jones, I guess, did awful. He did absolutely awful with the Browns. Actually, Corey Coleman did better than Julio Jones. In terms of touchdowns, it looks like Golden Tate led the league. J.J. Watt, by far, had more sacks than anybody else with 26. And it looks like Casey Hayward, a new player on the Cowboys, led the league with 9 interceptions. To end off the video, let's see who won the Super Bowl, and let's see if my Jacksonville Jaguar prediction was correct. And it ends up being the New Orleans Saints 27-24 over the Buffalo Bills. Now, two teams that added some big pieces. The Saints added J.J. Watt. The Buffalo Bills added like 3 or 4 big players. But crazy, the Saints do grab the nod 27-24. Now, anybody else make it deep? The Eagles made it pretty deep in the playoffs to the conference championship game. I think, the Jaguars, maybe look stupid. Got beat by the freaking Chargers. Gosh dang Chargers. And then the Chargers got beat bad by the Bills. So the Bills had a big playoffs until they lost to Drew Brees and the Saints. But with that said, boys, hopefully you guys did enjoy. And if you make sure to drop a like. If the Bills did sign a better quarterback, I'm not knocking Tyrod Taylor, but they did sign a better quarterback overall-wise in Madden, they probably would have won. But aside from that, dude, they had an incredible team. Freaking David Johnson and a bunch of other absolute beasts. But anyways, that's going to do it. Let me know if you guys have any other ideas for experiments in the comment section below. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Turn on the notification bell if you haven't so you do not miss any of the giveaways throughout this month leading up to Christmas. But I will catch you guys next time. Great rest of your day. Peace.